What is it like to live as a woman under ISIS rule?
Actually,
yes. Michael Shore, expert on the feminine side of ISIS rule. We'll defer to your wisdom soon, but for now, let's talk with those living under the rule, actual women. We're getting it from their point of view. The report that they put out, Women of the Islamic State, Manifesto and Case Study, it was put out by members of the Al-Khansa brigade, an all-female militia that was set up by ISIS. Now, we're going to read you some of the excerpts from this. Now that it has been translated into English, understand that this is an unofficial look at the life of women under ISIS. It has not been authorized by ISIS specifically, but it is a glimpse into what their experience is like. Here are some of the excerpts from it. It's designed to be a document to clarify the role of Muslim women and the life which is desired for them, and to clarify the realities of life and the hallowed existence of women in the Islamic State. So, right off the bat, they lead a hallowed existence. That is a very good existence. We'll see if that is actually the case. They do, however, contrast the life of women under ISIS with those living in Western countries. The Western model for women has failed, the treaty says, with women who go to work taking on corrupted ideas and shoddy-minded beliefs instead of religion. What is the Arabic word for shoddy-minded beliefs? The model preferred by infidels in the West failed the minute that women were liberated from their cell in the house. That seems like bad branding, that you're referring to your system as the one that keeps them in the cell in the house. But they go on to say one of the specific policies is, it is considered legitimate for a girl to be married at the age of 9, which I would hope is controversial. Most pure girls will be married by 16 or 17 while they are still young and active. Young men will not be more than 20 years old in those glorious generations, probably because they will be asked to become suicide bombers long before then. So look, it is a harsh existence, obviously. They have many differences in terms of how they choose to live. The reason that we're talking about this is that all too often, many of these people did not choose to live this way. It is a region that has been taken over by ISIS forces. If they do not comply, it is likely that they could be put to death. We've seen that multiple times in just the past weeks. And so some of these things are hard to understand, but I think it's important because there are literally millions of people living under this system as we speak.
Well, also, let's not forget that this isn't just ISIS in that part of the world.
That is
Women
true.
cannot drive in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm pretty sure Saudi Arabia is an ally of ours, right?
It is,
Didn't the king just die and we sent pretty much everybody? I didn't see you guys there, but they sent literally the whole country.
Did you see me here?
I didn't see you here either.
I
You were there? You were there.
filming.
So this is endemic to that part of the world, obviously. But as a liberal, I will always stand for liberal principles. So I will always stand for equality for women and for gay people and for oppressed minorities. And yeah, that ISIS is doing any of this shit, does this surprise me? No, I don't know. Again, I don't know what we're supposed to do about it. But yeah, it's pretty horrific.
In some cases, not a drastic departure from how it is on a daily basis for non-ISIS Islamic countries, you know, so that like Dave was saying. And it also makes you think, when you think that Benazir Bhutto was elected at one time Prime Minister of Pakistan. How did that happen?
Yeah.
How did a woman get elected then, and what a shame it was that she didn't survive her term, because that would have maybe changed the way people look at women in that part of the world over a long haul.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think one of the interesting things about this is that it is both true that largely in that region the status of women is less equal, but there is huge variance between countries. I mean, Pakistan is not Yemen. Even Iraq is not. Iraq wasn't even Saudi Arabia.
I don't want to at all make it seem like Pakistan is
I'm not
like,
saying,
no.
That was not me attacking you.
It should be clear.
That is that all too often I think that we receive so little education about that region of the world as we grow up, that by the time we're of age to vote, we don't know the difference between Bahrain and Kuwait. It doesn't make any difference. And not just between countries, but also between times. We've seen massive changes in the status of women just within our lifetimes. In Egypt, like just in the past 3-4 decades, the status of women is entirely different than it was. Afghanistan, entirely different.
In
Iran,
our own country, the status of black people.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a black president here.
Exactly.
We are poised to perhaps have a female president, or at least a nominee. So there's all of that, you know, so it's not just over there. But when I thought of that, it just like, God, how did Bhutto seem like 100 years before her time? You know?
What I just don't understand is when you see these stories and you see these videos, and they keep saying, well, ISIS keeps getting more recruits. I don't understand, and you hear this every day now. Females from France and from Spain and Belgium and the Netherlands are seeing this stuff, and then they're still going.
Yeah.
When
is the signing period over? That's what I want to know. When is the signing period over?
It's at least a couple more months, I think. Anyone know? Yeah.
It's very difficult to understand. But I do know that there is an element of the human brain that likes the idea of submission, that likes the idea of not being forced to make choices for yourself. I mean, that's why dictatorships work, is because there's enough people who are willing to defer to a strong authority. I think some people like to have their choices taken away because life is simpler. I don't know that that's one of the principal drivers of people internationally going there, but their rights will be taken away when they get there, so they at least have to come to grips with that. Really fast, let me read just 2 more excerpts from it, because it goes into how harsh the restrictions are on women's ability to just live, to function, to go out in these regions. It is the fundamental function of a woman to be in the house with her husband and children, adding that they may leave the house to serve the community only in exceptional circumstances, to wage jihad when there are no men available, to study religion. And by the way, these women are waging jihad. There's tons of men available. And female doctors and teachers are permitted to leave, but must keep strictly to Sharia guidelines. So you may leave to wage war, to study religion, and if you're a doctor or a teacher. That is literally the only exception.
And well, the only thing you can study is religion, so you can't be a doctor.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it's a written-in contradiction.
Yeah, they're grandfathered in.
Are they going to the women's like weekly canasta club and being like, ladies, we ran out of jihadists around here. Can somebody...
Now, someone comes in, they throw a blanket over the cards and they start talking about the Quran. But remember what I just said in that graphic. Yes, we say, stay in your houses, but this does not mean in any way that we support illiteracy, backwardness, or ignorance. Now, they do stress, they have guidelines for as you grow up, what you should be trained in, and they do have for periods of your life early on, up until about 15, that you should be trained in the natural sciences. But they also say that once you've learned the basics, you don't have to focus on that as much, learn the religion. So they can say all that they want, that they're not in favor of backwardness. They are in favor of backwardness. Yeah. And they're certainly taking these regions even farther back.